Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me. This is a bit of a crowded setup here, so we're just going to do our best with what little is given. Make this work somehow. Not sure if you can see the text, but pray for the best. Okay, good morning. Welcome to our morning news reading session. We will go through a few articles together and hopefully learn some words along the way. So let's look for something interesting to start the day with. Okay, let's try to look for some interesting morning news. Thank you for joining in. We are going to start with our morning news reading soon as soon as I can find something to zero in on. Let's see. I'll just do a bit of a warm-up with the weather report, I guess. Excuse me. Just recovering recently, so do bear with the minor coughing here and there. So let's start with a bit of a warm-up. Warmer weather expected in second half of October. So we are well past the second half of October, so let's hope for somewhat decent weather. Singapore, the second half of October is expected to be warm and less wet compared with the first half of the month, the weatherman said. The daily maximum temperatures are likely to range between 33 and 34 degrees Celsius on most days, and may hit around 35 degrees Celsius on a few days, said the Meteorological Service Singapore in an advisory on 8 October 16th. Short-duration thundery showers are expected over parts of the island in the late morning and afternoon on some days. On a few days, Sumatra squalls could bring widespread thundery showers and gusty winds during pre-dawn hours and mornings, MSS added. But less rainfall is expected in the last week of October, with little rainfall on a few days. Total rainfall for the second half of October is forecast to be below average over most parts of the island. MSS said that the inter-monsoon conditions, which started in early October, are expected to continue for the rest of the month. Prevailing winds will be mostly light and variable in direction, and blow from southeast or southwest on some days. In the first 2 weeks of October, thundery showers occurred in the late morning and afternoon on most days, with intense showers on October 14 due to regional wind convergence. Kent Ridge recorded 145.8 millimeters of rainfall that day, the highest daily rainfall for the first half of October. Most parts of Singapore saw above average rainfall during this period. The daily maximum temperatures remained below 34 degrees Celsius on most days, with the highest recorded at 34.1 degrees Celsius at Admiralty on October 3rd. So that is all for the weather report. We will probably now move on to something longer. There was one piece of news that I thought was quite interesting, but I'm not sure if it's still here. Scroll a bit. Maybe it's not here. Might have been Channel News Asia instead. Oh well. Let's scroll back to the main page. So headlines. Oh, hang on. There's more on the side button here. A lot of politic news. Probably don't want to cover that here. There's a lot of politics going on. All right, let's just go with this one on mental health. So, next news article: Gen X Stoics should not stand in the way of young people's mental health. Youth mental health is a national and global issue. It's time for older Singaporeans to get over their own bias so they don't hinder young people's access to treatment. So this is a opinion article. It's not exactly news. It's just an opinion editorial piece. The first time I heard of a quarter-life crisis, I laughed. This was around the early 2000s. The people I spoke with, after having worked for a few years, wanted to take a break, to travel, to recharge, to try something different. When I joked that they were too young to have a midlife crisis, When I joked that they were too young to have a midlife crisis, they said half earnestly, half jokingly, that they were having a quarter-life crisis. The very concept was alien to me. Why would anyone who had barely worked for 5 years need a break? And what was there to have a crisis about at the age of 25 when life beckoned and youth and vitality pushed through the veins? They told me, and I tried to listen. Later, I searched the term, and a quarter life crisis was a thing. It was one of those moments when I realized how differently young people viewed life compared with me and my generation. And it took more of such cross generational encounters and many more years before I began to accept that their view of life was different and equally valid. I started reflecting on the generational differences in worldviews in the wake of calls to lower the age of consent for mental health services from 21 to 18, and for those aged 14 to 18 to be able to access care such as mental health assessments or basic counseling without parental consent. This is because some parents were unsupportive or refused to have their kids assessed or treated according to mental health practitioners and MPs who have spoken up on this. Other youth do not want their parents to be informed of their mental health needs. In some cases, the family situation or parental relationship could be factors affecting the youth's mental health. A recent survey by the Institute of Mental Health showed that a third of young people aged 15 to 35 did not seek help despite having severe or very severe symptoms of depression, anxiety, or stress. The government said in February that mental health and well being are a key priority in its national agenda. Why is mental health such a big issue for the young these days? And as parents, managers, and mentoring adults to the younger generation, how should older Singaporeans respond to the issue in a way that helps, not hinders, their well being? Worldwide trend. Mental health isn't just an issue in high stress Singapore. Longitudinal, sorry, longitudinal studies from several countries reveal that today's youth face worse mental health outcomes than previous generations did at that same age. In the US, one study showed that between 2010 and 2017, there was an increase in psychological distress and suicide related outcomes among younger cohorts born in the 1980s and 1990s than older cohorts. In the UK, another study found evidence that those born in the early 2000s showed more depressive symptoms than those born in the 1990s at the same age. Is anyone facing any mental health issues where they are right now? Hopefully, you guys aren't facing anything major. If you are, hang around. Maybe there'll be some helplines in this article that we can look at. What accounts for this decline in mental health? Could it be due to age related changes so that as the population ages, for example, more people report a mental health decline, affecting the population wide figures? Or was it due to cohort effects, which means those born within a certain time period have worse mental health than those born earlier? For example, we might say millennials born in the 1980s and 1990s have poorer mental health than boomers born in the 1940s and 1950s. In an Australian study, researchers did statistical analysis on a 20-year-long longitudinal study tracking mental health and concluded that it was the latter. The decline in mental health was largely driven by young adults born in the 1990s, or the millennials, they said, adding, individuals in this cohort report worse mental health than individuals in earlier cohorts at the same ages. Thus, the deterioration in mental health over time, which has been reported in large cross-sectional surveys, likely reflects cohort-specific effects related to the experiences of young people born in the millennial generation. If the current differences between cohorts continue, we expect the deterioration among the younger generations will worsen as they age, and furthermore, emerging generations may suffer a similar or worse deterioration in mental health. We think these recent trends are unlikely to spontaneously resolve without addressing the new or exaggerated risks that may be differentially affecting these recent cohorts. In Singapore, there is a similar trend of more young people reporting mental health issues. In 2022, 25.3% of young people aged 18 to 29 had mental health issues, up from 21.5% in 2020. So there's some disconcerting news, I suppose. Hopefully, you guys aren't too affected by what's going on. In addition, 1 in 3 young people aged 10 to 18 in Singapore experience symptoms such as sadness, anxiety, and loneliness. But only about 1 in 10 parents observed signs of distress in their children, according to an NUS study, suggesting a gap in parental understanding of mental distress. Why are today's young struggling more with mental health issues? Stoics from Gen X and older generations may go into the blame the victim mode and say the younger generation has been mollycoddled and lacks resilience to deal with life's challenges. We give them pejorative labels like strawberry generation, easily bruised, or snowflakes melting in the heat. Others may go into self blame to lament that we were helicopter parents who hovered too much, impeding their initiative, or too lax in their upbringing, failing to inculcate grit. While some of this may be true, experts say there are wider societal and environmental factors affecting youth mental health. Examples: climate change, rising job and income insecurity, financial strain, housing unaffordability, and global shocks such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Youth also have to navigate the always on world of social media with its FOMO, fear of missing out, and comparison culture. As for their future, if the pessimistic scenario comes to pass, they would live on a rapidly heating planet Earth with more extreme weather events with decreased food production capacity. Accepting generational bias. What can older Singaporeans do to support the mental health of Gen Z and millennials? For a start, we can be honest about our own blinkers when it comes to mental health issues. Older generations may consider stoic endurance a virtue and never talk about their struggles. We continue to stigmatize mental illness in our own minds, even as we are aware of changing norms and pay lip service to the notion that mental health is as important as physical health. Gen X adults may be willing to concede their struggles and call themselves stressed or burned out, but we tend to see mental illness as a character flaw or the result of a lack of discipline. Some of us may still believe that a person will or think themselves out of depression or anxiety. And when we want help, Gen Xers are prone to hitting self-help books and courses rather than seek help from a professional. Millennials, on the other hand, are more open about their mental health struggles and comfortable talking about issues. They may prefer online help and use mental health apps. The younger generation, Z, roughly those born from 1996 to 2013, seek out mental health programs and resources online and in person, and are comfortable with open, candid talk on mental health issues. A broad understanding of how each generation's life experiences shape their mental health expectations aids us in parenting or mentoring or managing younger generations. There is even a toolbox for parents developed by the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Social and Family Development, and Health Promotion Board, available online, to help them support their children's mental wellness. It is an information packed resource with practical advice on how to recognize signs of distress in your child and how to conduct supportive conversations in the family. Pardon me, I'm still recovering from a bit of a cold. It has also a handy list of some common misconceptions and reality. For example, a parent may resist sending their child for mental health assessments or treatment, thinking, I don't want others to treat my child differently. As the guide notes, the reality is this: receiving professional help is key to preventing mental health concerns from worsening. Your child's needs should be your first priority, and sorry, the opinions of others should not prevent you from ensuring that your child gets the right support they need. As older adults, Gen X parents, managers, and mentors should be the ones younger generations turn to when they are suffering mental health distress or suffering mental distress. We may not fully understand how it feels to be young these days and to feel anxious and lost and hopeless about the future. We may not understand school refusal, which was simply truancy in our time. We may not really understand social anxiety and want to see young people just get on with things, or think they should man up or face challenges head on. I don't think we need to we I don't think we need to empathize fully with what it is like to be young these days for us to support their mental health. All we have to do is realize that our own bias and mental blinkers could be adding to their distress. Every time we dismiss their struggles, minimize them by saying our generation had it worse, or discourage them from seeking help, we make it worse for them. We can make the extra effort to understand mental health better so we don't stand in the way of them getting help. How tragic it would be if our own bias against mental health illness stopped our young, loved ones from getting the help they need for their mental well being. So that's the article on mental health. So younger people will have access to mental health services at an earlier age right now. So hopefully that will be for the better. We'll take a quick short break, and once we're done, we'll be back with possibly more news. And we'll see if there's anything else interesting we can tap into. No, it's something interesting, I guess. Welcome back to the morning news reading session together. Hope you're having a good morning and hope everyone's doing well with their mental health. So, we're going to read some life news, something more lighthearted. Has anyone heard of Chick-fil-A? It's pretty well known in America. American fast food chain Chick-fil-A to open in Singapore in 2025. Not sure how it will do here, probably shrink by half the amount. Let's read on. Singapore. US fast food chain Chick-fil-A announced it will be opening its first outlet in Singapore in late 2025, marking the brand's first foray into Asia. In a press statement on October 17, the popular restaurant said it is looking for individuals who are interested in becoming the first franchise owner-operator in Singapore. This means each restaurant will be owned and operated by an individual who will work in the same premises with his or her team members. Interested applicants can apply at this address. Local operators of the Singapore outlet will also be part of the Chick-fil-A food donation program, which shares leftovers with local non-profit partners to help those in need. Chick-fil-A will be investing US $75 million, which is the equivalent of $98.5 million in the first restaurant in Singapore for 10 years. Mr. Hugh Park, head of Asia Pacific operations of Chick-fil-A Asia, said he is thrilled to bring new jobs and opportunities to support the local community. In June, Chick-fil-A hosted a pop-up event at Esplanade Mall from June 26 to 28. Tickets for the event were snapped up quickly. The pop-up was held in partnership with local philanthropic organization Community Chest. Participants made a $10 donation to ComChest to get a ticket, which entitled them to a meal comprising an original Chick-fil-A sandwich, Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, waffle potato fries, and a drink. More than $30,000 was raised for ComChest, Chick-fil-A said. The Straits Times has contacted Chick-fil-A for more information. So there's the Chick-fil-A burger with the waffle fries. And that's the article. It's a surprisingly short article on Chick-fil-A, so something to look forward to. We're gonna take a quick short break, and we will continue in a bit, maybe with more interesting news. Okay, we are back and I'm just recovering, so don't mind the sneezing and the coughing. Alright, let's see here. Okay, so I thought this was kind of cool. Disney Adventure Cruise will set sail from December 15, 2025. Ticket sales start in December 2024. So it's going to take one whole year before they start. But you can start booking your tickets in December this year. Singapore Disney Cruise Line (DCL) has released voyage details of its first Asia-based cruise, the Disney Adventure, which will sail from Singapore for 5 years from 2025. So that's something interesting to look forward to if you enjoy Disney content. The first sailing will depart on December 15th, 2025 from Marina Bay Cruise Center. The ship, built with a destination in itself, will sail on 3 and 4 night itineraries without making any stops. It includes 7 themed areas featuring popular characters from movies like Big Hero 6 2014, Toy Story 1995 to present, and The Jungle Book 1967. As of October, online travel platform Klook has about 34,000 registrants on its Disney Adventure waitlist, while travel booking platform KKday has around 10,000. During an event on October 16, DCL revealed that one of the main attractions on the Disney Adventure will be a roller coaster, the Iron Cycle Test Run, that runs for over 250 meters on its upper decks, making it the longest at sea. So that's really cool if you enjoy roller coasters. Here is one on a ship at sea. Marvel fans can come face to face with some of its most popular characters, such as Spider-Man and Deadpool. The ship will also feature a new Broadway-style show called Remember, starring Pixar's Wall-E, as well as a mix of other Disney and Pixar characters. Every stateroom will feature Disney touches in decorations and artwork, and come with 24-hour room service. DCL has yet to announce the number of staterooms available. Stateroom prices, which have yet to be revealed, will include food and beverage, entertainment and experiences, such as shows and character meet and greet sessions, internet access packages, and alcoholic beverages will be charged separately. Tickets go on sale on December 10 via DCL's website and authorized resellers such as Klook. More details on pricing and sailing dates will be released on November 14, so that's in about less than a month. So, Disney Adventure Cruise will set sail from Singapore December 15, 2025. Ticket sales start December 2024. And that was it. It's another short article. Hopefully, this will be something that everyone can look forward to. We will take a quick short break while I try to look for more interesting, fun news. Most of the news seems pretty serious today. Yeah, everything's a little on the serious side. Well, I guess we will scroll up to look into this one then. Okay, some business news for today. Those of you joining in, welcome to the morning news reading session. We will be going through a few news articles together, and this is the next one. We will be starting shortly. Don't mind me, I'm just recovering from a bit of a cold. So let us begin. Amazon AWS CEO: quit if you don't want to return to the office. San Francisco: one of Amazon's top executives defended a new controversial 5-day per week in office policy on October 17, saying that those who do not support it can leave for another company. Speaking at an all-hands meeting for AWS, Unit Chief Executive Officer Matt Garman said 9 out of 10 workers he has spoken with support the new policy, which takes effect in January, according to a transcript reviewed by Reuters. Those who do not wish to work for Amazon in office 5 days per week can quit, he suggested. If there are people who just don't work well in that environment and don't want to, that's okay. There are other companies around, said Mr. Garman. By the way, I don't mean that in a bad way, he said, adding that we want to be in an environment where we are working together. Hmm. When we want to really innovate on interesting products, I have not seen an ability for us to do that when we're not in person, said Mr. Garman. The policy has upset many of Amazon's employees who say it wastes time with additional commuting, and the benefits of working from the office are not supported by independent data. Amazon has been enforcing a 3-day in-office policy, but CEO Andy Jassy said in September that the retailer would move to 5 days to invent, collaborate, and be connected. Some employees who had not been previously compliant were told they were voluntarily resigning and were locked out of their company systems. It's pretty rough. Would you prefer working from home? Amazon, the world's second largest private employer behind Walmart, has taken a harder line on returning to the office than many of its technology peers, such as Google, Meta, and Microsoft, who have 2 to 3 day in office policies. I'm actually quite excited about this change, said Mr. Garman. I know not everyone is, he added, noting that it is too hard to accomplish the company's goals with only the mandatory current 3 days of in office work. Mr. Garman said that under the 3 day policy, we didn't really accomplish anything, like we didn't get to work together and learn from each other, because people may be in offices on different days. In particular, he said, the company's leadership principles, which dictate how Amazon ought to operate, were difficult to follow with just a 3 day per week requirement. You can't internalize them by reading them on the website. You really have to experience them day to day, he said. One principle, disagree and commit, which is understood to mean that employees can express grievances but then should dive into a project as outlined by leaders, is not ideal for remote work. Mr. Garman said, I don't know if you guys have tried to disagree via a chime call, he said, referring to the company's internal messaging and calling function. It's very hard. Reuters. And that's quite a short article as well. Maybe we will come back with more news, I think. Hmm. We will now continue with our next morning news article. A bit more of local life news from the Straits Times. Not sure if anyone has been to the Art Box, but it started out as a popular destination in Thailand. Now it's part of Singapore for some reason. Artbox Marketplace to return to Singapore Expo in 2025 with 300 stalls. Singapore lifestyle marketplace Artbox is set to return to Singapore in a big way in January 2025. The event, termed Art Box Every Day, will feature vendors from Singapore, Thailand, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. It will be held at Singapore Expo Hall 4 from January 17 to 19 and 24 to 26. There will be around 300 stalls. This includes more than 90 food and beverage stalls and 196 retail outlets, which is 40% more than Artbox's first iteration in January and February 2024. The event will attempt to recreate the community spirit of a heartland estate. The core installation will feature stacked shipping containers designed to resemble flats, complete with a communal void deck. Visitors to the void deck can take part in various activities such as karaoke sessions and chess. There will also be a convenience store which offers a selection of exclusive products from prominent local artists. Children can be dropped off at an enrichment center where activities such as speech and drama classes and t-shirt doodling lessons will be offered. For the first time, Artbox will feature Trade Day, a platform for business-to-business interactions, fostering collaborations between local businesses, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders. The Trade Day program features keynote speakers such as media outfit S-Gag's co-founder Adrian Ang, also known by his online moniker Xiaoming, and music site Bandwagon's founder Clarence Chen. There will also be the new Artbox Express, a mobile gallery bus service prompting round-trip transport for an extra 50 cents for ticket holders from Scape to Singapore Expo. The bus will feature creative takeovers by the art and design collective Funk. Attendees will even stand a chance to win the Dongfei Box, an electric car worth more than $90,000 in partnership with Volt Auto. The festival has also teamed up with alcohol brand Chang Beer to offer drinks such as cold brew lager, espresso beer, and draft beer, and is working with the arcade people to provide retro gaming machines for some gaming nostalgia. Tickets to the event are available via trip.com from till December 23rd, and an early bird price of $5 for Friday and $6 for the weekend. From December 24 to January 15, Friday entry is priced at $6, while weekend entry costs $7. From December 16, tickets are $7 for Friday entry and $8 for weekend entry. Trade Day passes are $100 each and grant access to the entirety of the festival. So here are the details. Bukit Artbox to Singapore 2025, where Singapore Expo Hall 4, Expo Drive, when January 17 to 19, 24 to 26, noon to 11 p.m. Admission is $5 from $5 a person on Friday to $8 on a weekend, and $100 for a Trade Day ticket, which covers entry to all days of the festival. And you can find more information on artbox.sg. And that will be all for our morning reading session. Thank you so much for joining us today. Do check it out, and hope you all have a good morning ahead. Please join us later in the afternoon for